Morning, everyone. Let's get the Board of Commissioners meeting for Shelby County, Indiana. It is August already. It is August 4th, 2025. First item on the agenda is the approval of minutes for the July 28th meeting. Entertain a motion to approve.
I'll move to approve minutes for 7/28/2025.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify in the affirmative.
Aye.
Next up, we have claims. Entertain a motion to approve claims.
I'll move to approve claims.
Second.
I have a motion second for claims. All those in favor signify in the affirmative.
Aye.
Claims pass 3-0. Next up, we have a property tax refund. This is for 1003 South Tompkins Street in the amount of $1,322.79. Is this a homestead exemption that didn't? Okay. Yeah. Once again, refund for 1003 South Tompkins Street, $1,322.79. Looks like a homestead exemption that has fallen off. Entertain a motion to approve the refund.
I'll move to approve the refund for 1003 South Tompkins.
Second.
Have a motion second. All those in favor signify in the affirmative. Aye. All right, we will kind of jump around a little bit just because Jennifer, it sounds like you've got some time constraints. So Jennifer Jones with Blue River Foundation is going to be talking about some of our plans for better accommodating donations and requests for funding that can be utilized from the Tyndall Farm purchase or Tyndall Farm proceeds.
So we specifically talked about a field of interest fund that would not be endowed. Most of our funds that we utilize are endowed, but because a lot of time this funding is emergency needs, we wanted to be able to have access to it anytime. So we discussed a non-permanent fund. So it'll still be in the pool and be invested and be able to grow, but we'll have access to as much of it as is needed in any given year instead of being tied to a spending policy. And it just kind of makes sense to let us, kind of like we do with the Racino grant money. We already have an evaluation plan and, staffing to take care of that, reporting, distributing. So you guys don't have to be in the grant making business as well as all the other things that you do.
Yeah, so just kind of a little bit of background on this. We've been looking for ways to, one, do more with less, and two, better deliver services to area nonprofits that request funding for services they provide to the community. So food pantries, the forthcoming nonprofit center, 501c3s, that kind of thing. The Blue River Community Foundation, if folks don't know, is a tremendous asset in the community that really does a great job of aggregating these types of funding opportunities, and it would allow us to essentially take advantage of some interest opportunities to, money that we commit from the Tyndall Farm, could be dispersed from that fund, and the portions that aren't dispersed would be available for interest-bearing purposes, correct?
Uh-huh.
So, it's something we've talked about for a while now. And, it's time to jump in and
Move on.
Roughly, what's like the money that doesn't, what's kind of the interest rate you guys are making now in the non-permanent?
Probably couldn't tell you that off the top of my head.
Okay.
I can get that for you though, for sure.
So basically, we're looking at, we typically
We would
take,
probably invest this in a more conservative fund though, because it's neat, you know, we're usually, most of our funds we're investing for the future for forever, but this would be more conservative in the short term. So it would be in a different allocation pool. So I can find that number out for you.
typically we invest about 100,000 of the money that comes from the Tyndall Farm and strictly has to go to poverty, like nonprofit, low income people. So instead of us being in the granting business, and we don't do any money with investing, donating it all to the Blue River Foundation, allowing them to be the hub for everybody in the community that's needing money. And then if it's not being used at the same time, still be making a little bit of money, kind of like a money market slash, what'd you call it, so.
I'd say probably donating isn't a good word. It's more of a
It's a pass through. It's
It's
really,
a
you're passing to us to
facilitate
redistribute.
redisbursement, yeah.
Yeah. But it can make a little bit why it's there, you
Right.
know, in the interim when it's not being used, whatever's sitting there. Yeah. And this fund isn't just for any 501(c)(3), you know, it's specifically for providing food, shelter, clothing, and those essential needs for those in poverty or homelessness.
so for those that don't know, the Tyndall Farm was deeded to the county before I was alive. Um, with the expressed intent of proceeds from the farming of that piece of land going towards poor relief initiatives throughout the county. So this is another way that we can, and part of the eating language said that we have to do our best to maximize that opportunity to serve, you know, poor relief purposes. This is another opportunity to maximize our end of the bargain with regards to doing as much as we can with the funding. So I think we had talked about $75,000 for interest-bearing purposes, with another 25,000 to be held in reserve for any requests that come up in the short term.
I think,
I don't think, I mean, my opinion would be to not, it can be invested without being endowed, meaning it's in the pool and growing, but we have access to as much as is needed in any given year. If you put 75 and endow it, then we're tied to our spending policy, which is only 4.5%. So if you had a year where your needs were larger than that, we wouldn't have access to it.
large sum that's in there, we kind of talked about.
Taking that
Yeah,
moving
yeah.
forward. and-
This would be
Yeah,
putting 100,000 in the account, slowly earn interest. It's an as need, and then at the end of the year, if you're not using it,
And
then
you could move some to the endowment, but I would maybe for the first year or two, see how much is going to be utilized.
okay.
When you set any aside.
The total amount we discussed was $100,000 from the current Tyndall Farm Fund to start this opportunity. So I'll make a motion to approve disbursement of or transfer of $100,000 into a Blue River Community Foundation Fund for the purposes of poor relief.
I'll second that.
Have a motion second. All those in favor signify in the affirmative. Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Easter, you have, invoice for second quarter, correct?
Yes. The second quarter is, we're billing them for $63,950. They'll cut us a check for $42,633, and then the shares money is $21,000 this month for this.
Okay.
quarter.
And just to remind everyone, this is essentially a pass-through funding from the state of Indiana. Requires us to pay the invoice,
Yeah.
but we get reimbursed and, yeah. So. Entertain a motion to approve the second quarter invoice from Shelby Go.
Motion approved.
Thank you.
Have a motion second. All those in favor signify in the affirmative. Shelby Go or Shelby County Board of Commissioners for the.
Shelby County Commissioners.
Okay. So the second quarter invoice passes 3-0. Today is August 4th. This is 25 West Polk, correct? Easter.
Yes.
All right, next we have a ordinance proposal. This is a truck parking ordinance. Regulating the parking of trucks and trailers and providing enforcement and penalties. I'll read the highlights real quick. Shall be unlawful for any person to park or allowed to be parking a truck, trailer, or semi-trailer having a gross vehicle weight rating in excess of 10,000 pounds on a public property or roadway within the unincorporated areas of Shelby County, except for the length of time necessary for expeditious loading or unloading of goods and materials. Further, shall be unlawful to park any such truck, trailer, or semi-trailer in a residential area, except as provided in section 3. Shall be unlawful for any person to allow any truck engine, auxiliary engine, or any truck, trailer, semi-trailer to idle continuously for more than 15 minutes in any residential area. Vehicles that are actively engaged in agricultural operations, including but not limited to loading or unloading of agricultural goods, livestock, feed, equipment, shall be exempt from the parking restrictions provided above, provided such operations are conducted in a reasonable and time-limited manner directly related to the ongoing agricultural activity. Shelby County Sheriff's Department is authorized to enforce the provisions of this ordinance. Any person found to be in violation of the ordinance may be issued a civil citation, shall be subject to a fine in the amount of $250 per violation. In lieu of issuing a citation, any vehicle parked in violation of this ordinance may be removed and towed by a licensed commercial towing service at the direction of the Shelby County Sheriff's Department. All costs associated with towing and storage shall be the responsibility of the vehicle owner. The section, subsection, sentence, clause, or phrase of this ordinance is declared to be invalid or unconstitutional. Such decision shall not affect the validity of the remaining portions of this ordinance. Long story short, we have had issues up in Pleasant View with trucking operations using public roads as their parking areas. Obviously, that's not acceptable. It's caused some frustrations with some of the homeowners in that area, understandably so. As a result, we've drafted this ordinance to try to have another tool in the toolbox, so to speak, to address these issues. The purpose of this ordinance isn't to be, malicious from an enforcement standpoint. As you can see, we included reasonable accommodations, but it's not acceptable for people to park their stuff on a public road. That's the nuts and bolts of it. So, because this is a countywide ordinance, I'll entertain any questions or comments from the audience or Zoom. Tough crowd.
And this was necessary because there wasn't any way to enforce it prior to, so.
Right.
We had complaints, and really didn't have any way to do anything about it because there wasn't an ordinance. And so without that, we didn't really have any leverage to make somebody move or keep them from doing that. So this has a little more teeth, and we hope that if people realize, they're going to be fined or towed, that may change their mind on what they're doing. So hopefully this is a deterrent.
Prior to that, we were able to tag the vehicle or trailer. What was happening was the vehicle or trailer would be tagged, and it would be moved to another spot on the road, essentially, during that 72-hour tag period. So this would be ordinance 2025-09, correct?
On my book, it will be 16.
16, okay. Ordinance 2025-16.
If there's no other discussion, I would move to approve truck parking ordinance 2025-16.
I'll second that to go into effect immediately.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify in the affirmative.
Aye.
Aye. We'll need to publish that one time. One time, correct? Yeah.
And do you publish that, or who publishes it?
They do, the auditor does.
Okay.
Appreciate everybody's patience with regards to this particular issue. When drafting this, we wanted to draft something that was appropriate, that wasn't burdensome, but helped us solve an issue that had come up that needed to be addressed.
Trying to be commonsensical about it.
Yeah. Mr. Holder, any items from Sheriff's Department?
We're good.
Mr. Radican?
Yes, sir.
Desiree, we have a rezone of 3 acres as a result of Plan Commission meeting.
It'll be ordinance 2025-17 under Planning Commission case number RZ 2510, Dagley rezoning. On July 22nd, 2025, the Plan Commission voted 7-1 to grant favorable recommendation to rezone 3 acres of property located west of and adjoining 7619 East 300 South Walder in Liberty Township from A1 Conservation Agricultural to RE Residential Estate to allow for a 1-lot simple subdivision. This was pretty cut and dry. No waivers or variances required. The buyer, seller, and joining property owner is aware they can contact Jeff Powell regarding any drainage concerns. So,
Move to approve the rezone.
I'll second.
Have a motion second. All those in favor signify in the affirmative.
Aye.
I'll abstain.
Abstention 1. Passes 2-0-1.
thank you.
Thank you. Donna, anything with HR coming up? Okay. Michael, Veteran Services.
Okay.
Danny. Morning, sir.
Good morning, guys.
Just introduce yourself real quick and for,
My name is Danny Norris. I'm the project manager for the Speedway Solar Project. Just coming to provide another update like I'd committed to last month. So there's really only 3 main things to hit. The first one is the county roads. We have completed our post-construction road survey, compiled that together with the pre-construction roadway, shared it with USI. We have executed a contract with them. They're in the process of comparing the two and are going to make a recommendation on what we need to fix. I requested that to be back by next Friday so we could talk about it on Monday. I don't know how that's going, if that pushes another week, but at that point, we will be able to initiate the discussion on what the project's going to fix. Ben has already shared the contractors list with me. So once we align on scope, we'll bid it out to the contractors and then the project will issue the payment for that. Do you all have any questions on that? I've been keeping Ben on copy with USI.
I'm gonna meet with one of their people this week out there and spec some stuff, talk to them as soon as they get their stuff completed and submitted to Danny, then we'll discuss it with them, look it over. Say, I haven't seen the pre-construction, post-construction survey, but like I say, they did provide that to USI. USI's been going through that last week and should finish up this week. He also did send an email to USI requesting that they look at the culverts under intersections, stuff that we talked about last meeting, or maybe it was 2 meetings ago, but discussed the culvert pipes and widening intersections. And he did email and request that they inspect those too.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
thank you, Danny.
Next one to hit is landscaping. I still owe Desiree a couple outstanding items for our August 12th meeting, but we should get that wrapped up this morning. We are working to get the landowner consents. The main outstanding issue is we need non-participating landowner consent, where we're trying to waive the screening requirement or move it off of drain tile or under transmission lines. I'd say we've gotten about half of them. The ones that we haven't gotten yet is more, we haven't been able to reach the non-participating landowner. We've went to their door, tried to knock on their door, leave a mailer. We still have a week until the meeting. But if we don't get them, we'll discuss that with the BZA. We feel pretty good about that. And then the last one is drain tile. So our contractor's been out there the last week. We did make the last major tie-in into our substation that required the outage with Duke. Mr. Powell was out there kind of providing some direction, talking with the contractor. I'm going to catch up with him later this morning, make sure that our notes are the same. They were the same going into this. But before our drain tile contractor is going to be done by the end of the week, and I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page before they demobilize. That's pretty much it. Do you all have any questions for me?
No, just to touch upon item 2 that you're trying to get in contact with non-participating landowners in particular, because of essentially changes that are necessary to the landscaping. I don't want non-participating landowners to think that the outreach is because of a desire to skimp on the landscaping. I think the the objective is to place landscaping in areas that does not make the drainage, that doesn't affect drainage by placing trees or landscaping berms on top of drainage tiles that are already in existence or were placed as a result of the project. So I would encourage non-participating landowners to get a hold of Danny. And if you don't have Danny's contact information, get a hold of me, and I will make sure that folks have the ability to have Danny's contact information. So
Yeah, it's for their benefit. We're not trying to change something to take something away from them. We want to try to make it better and work together to make it better. So make that clear that it's not anything that we're trying to take away from them.
Yeah, we're all on the same page about that.
Yeah, part of the challenge with this project is previously the landscaping proposal and the drainage proposal were essentially in two different silos, and they did not align very well together. Rather than making the drainage not as effective by placing landscaping elements directly on top of drainage tile. The goal is to adapt the landscaping to mitigate that concern. So get a hold of Danny, get a hold of me, and I'll get you in touch with Danny. So
Where's that contractor from, that drainage company?
It's a good question. I'm not sure. I think they are within the Midwest. I'm not sure if they're local to Indianapolis or based out of somewhere else.
How long? If you had another problem, if you used them specifically,
They could get back out within a week or so. The only other thing, I think to your point, Jason, we're not trying to get out of our obligation. We're only looking to waive 15% of the total landscaping. We are still going to plant in the areas that it's not going to obstruct. Either a landowner doesn't want it because it's in the middle of their farm field and cutting off their farmable acreage, or if it's on drain tile or transmission lines.
and to be clear, you didn't ask for this. The landowners and other people around have asked you to do this. That's what's brought this back up, not that you were coming back to change anything. It's people in the area have asked for this to be done.
Yes. I think they've been asking for it for a while, and the project didn't do a good job with the first time we went through this process. So now we're trying to amend it correctly.
Right, so you are trying to meet their needs. It's not anything you came up with on your own.
Correct. Yeah.
Is that clear?
Danny, I appreciate your time. Thanks for the update.
Coming in here.
And if anything comes up, holler because have anything you need.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Ben, how are things going at Highway?
Pavement Solutions come in last week. We ended up completing 15 miles of chip and seal in the northwest part of the county. Had a couple of roadways while we were there, close to, that needed and could be preserved with this treatment. So while they were here, we went ahead and did those. They were able to complete that in about 2.5 days last week. They finished up Thursday night. They stuck around to finish up Brandywine Road. I think we completed that about 8 o'clock Thursday night. So they came back out on Friday and began fog sealing some of these roadways. They will be fog sealing again today and possibly tomorrow morning. When doing that, it'll be 1 lane closures at a time. They're spraying the fog seal, applying it to 1 lane, keep it open for traffic, school buses. Once it's cured, they'll go and spray the other lane. Fog seal really helps to mitigate the dust, hold any stone in that maybe was seated, but didn't quite have the emulsion coverage that it should have, possibly loose and could get knocked off. This helps to seal that in, and keep the dust down. So we're hoping that they have that completed by the end of the day today.
So just for general education, I know that, over the weekend, the roads had been chip sealed, but not fog sealed. You cannot fog seal immediately after chip sealing, correct? Because you need to give that aggregate time to settle.
Need to wait at least 24, preferably 48 hours before you can broom any loose aggregate off of it to be able to fog seal to make sure you really get it on the new wearing surface. You don't want to just spray it directly over loose aggregate and it'll just blow right off. So typically 24 to 48 hours. And like I say, chip seal, I understand people don't like it. I get it, but it'll bring that roadway to a Paisley rating 7 if it's applied to the right roadway, and it'll preserve it in that state.
You gotta dumb it down for me a little bit.
So the state requires us to rate roadways every 2 years on a scale of 1 to 9. 1 being very poor subgrade showing, 9 being, there's actually a 10, but county roadways, we don't have anything that has curb gutter, painted, lights. So as far as a highway is concerned, we go 1 to 9. By using this chip and seal, like say, if it's applied to the right roadway, we'll bring it to a PASA rating 7, get it to a good condition. It will preserve that roadway at a PASA rating 7 for 5 to 7 years is what NDOT deems chip seal preservation lifespan is 5 to 7 years. At that PASA rating 7, obviously it'll deteriorate a little bit, but it's the most cost-effective thing that the county can do for a roadway. Like I say, I know people don't like it. There's no real good way to communicate with every property owner on a roadway. The company that come in was able to do full width chip and seal at one time, did affect people's day for 15 minutes to an hour, depending on if they were trying to get down there, lived on that roadway. Some of them had to go around the block and come in behind them because you can drive on it immediately after it's laid. So we apologize for the delays on that. We appreciate it. Almost everybody we came in contact with was nice and understanding. And we even had a couple phone calls that people said they appreciate preservation, taking care of the roads, which were phone calls I didn't expect to get. So those were appreciated.
Any negative phone calls?
A lot more than positive.
Okay.
But it's short-lived, a couple days,
It is.
a lot better. And
Right.
I'm telling you, the ones I went up and drove a couple of them and, the amount of loose aggregate isn't near as much as what it used to be when they did that. What I was used to, say 20 years ago, I felt like it was a lot better job, a more precise job, just looked like they had figured out what they needed and what to use and didn't put on an excessive amount and then call it good. I thought it was a nice job.
Haven't even been fog sealed yet. And fog sealing was something that was not done previously in this area, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so I would ask everybody to hold judgment on this until next week.
Yeah, just give
Give
it time.
it time to truly get finished with the fog seal and appreciate everybody's patience and willingness to try something to better maximize value to the taxpayer. So we are trying to do our best with taxpayer dollars. Cost on this versus a mile of paving is about 3-to-1 ratio, correct? So preserve the good roads that we have and focus on other roadways that need more pressing attention. So thanks, Ben. Anything else? Anybody in the audience or on Zoom? Questions, comments for the good of the cause?
I'll move to adjourn.
Folks, we're adjourned. Have a great week. Thanks for everybody's patience. Hope you're as excited as I am about learning about Pazer scales.
So.
You know, when you talk about that 3-to-1, that's 3-to-1 with us doing the paving. If you